This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by North Shore Community College. If you have the will to attend college, we have the way for you to earn your degree.
Welcome back to LCTV News and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Dani Vittori, and this week saw the city and organizations beginning to transition to spring events, while also keeping residents informed of current events. We are doubling up on the Lowdowns again this week with a winter update from the Lynn Museum and Leo Inc. stopping in for a visit. Here's the news for Friday, March 17th, 2023. Dr. Kiami Mahanya has been named the new Massachusetts Undersecretary for Health Services as part of the Executive Office of Health and Human Services by Governor Maura Healey. He has been working at LCHC for the past 5.5 years, first joining the team back in 2015. His accomplishments span from opening a retail pharmacy, increasing access to substance abuse disorder and addiction programs in Lynn, and helping lead LCHC through the COVID-19 pandemic. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, he launched a value-based payment system program, which seeks to drastically change parts of the healthcare system. Dr. Mahanya will be officially leaving to start his new position on April 7th, and LCHC has voted to use an outside consulting firm to find and hire their next CEO. In a statement released, he said, "While I look forward to this new role and to the work that will impact every corner of the Commonwealth, I am also reflecting on my time here at LCHC and am overcome with gratitude. I am grateful to have been chosen to lead LCHC through a pivotal moment of transformation, grateful for the faith of the executive team and for the trust of the staff. We have accomplished so much together," end quote. On March 15th, the Healey-Driscoll administration announced that the COVID-19 public health emergency will end in Massachusetts on May 11th. On that day, Governor Healey will also be rescinding an executive order which required all executive branch state employees to receive their initial series of COVID-19 vaccines. Additional legislation will also be filed to extend key flexibilities which existed during the public health emergency, specifically around staffing and emergency medical services. Having one first responder driver and a single certified EMT as opposed to two for advanced life support ambulance transports will become a permanent change, even after the end of the public health emergency. To read the full press release, go to our website, LynnTV.org. Last Saturday, the 11th, Lynn Tech hosted the second annual North Shore Media Expo. Representatives from several organizations and nonprofits were in attendance to discuss the importance of media and opportunities within the field. Organized by Skills USA and Lynn Tech, members of the community came to hear a panel discussion and network. Take a look.
Well, the event, the big thing about this event is access to people and access to equipment. I think that's one of the biggest things that people in television need to be able to succeed. So we want to bring those two things together. So we have wonderful community sponsors that are able to sponsor and give away some equipment, and we have access to people. You know, TV production is all about connections, getting those connections and meeting different people, and that's how you get those jobs. So we decided, you know what, let's just bring everyone in one room together. Let's have one big networking event and really navigate about different ways of how to get a job in TV, because it's so difficult sometimes about where should I go for TV? How do you navigate? So let's get everyone in one room and kind of talk about the step-by-step process for what you need to do to get a job in TV. So Skills USA is a big part. Skills USA is huge on making you job ready. CTE education is so huge, and Skills USA, focuses on, making sure that you're ready, you're professional, and what better way to combine with a great organization like Skills USA, the work that Jason McCush does in company, to really be able to talk about professionalism and networking, which is really what Skills USA is all about.
So I'm a chapter member in Skills USA, and I won first place on TV production for districts. April 27th, 28, 29, I'll be competing on state level for TV production. I'm pretty confident. I love what I do, and I can't wait to showcase my skills in that trade.
I've been working with Skills USA pretty much since I started. Jason McCush was introducing to it about 8 years ago when I first started teaching. And I've been able to do different activities with them. But the students really are the lifeblood of Skills USA. They're just so awesome, great leaders. And it's really just a pleasure just to work with them and see them grow.
So this event is such a beautiful event for people who are not as fortunate as me to have such a vocational education, because here at Tech, I'm in TV media, radio and TV broadcasting, so we know a lot of media. We learn how to edit, we learn how to film, we learn so many things, and I'm so grateful that we're able to learn that, because people at classical and English, they don't have that type of education. So events like these are super important because they get to network themselves and meet new people and make connections and just really have a fun time.
Warm temperatures are coming, but it is still winter in New England. National Grid is continuing to offer the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or fuel assistance, for eligible households. Enrollment is open until May 12th, and eligibility is based on household income and the gross income of all residents aged 18 and over. Their income cannot exceed 60% of the estimated state median income, and assistance is offered in fixed amounts for the primary source of heat. National Grid also just announced that anyone receiving their electric supply or basic service can expect to see lower bills beginning May 1st when they switch from winter to summer rates. The bills may also be lower due to an adjustment proposed by the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities, which, if approved, would decrease residential customers' bills by 39%. National Grid is also working with other state officials on moderations which could reduce price volatility in the future. To learn more about these programs and the varying prices of electricity, go to nationalgridus.com. Thursday, the 16th, North Shore Community College held a North Shore Small Business Resource Fair. Those in attendance could listen to panels and network with local businesses. Take a look. On Thursday, March 16th, North Shore Community College hosted an Access to Capital and Small Business Resources Matchmaker event.
I can't tell you how excited I am that you are all here and talking about how to build on that work and doing it here in the city of Lynn. The city of Lynn is growing, and we're poised for even more growth. And I believe so strongly that for that growth to be meaningful, it has to be inclusive. And one of the best ways we can do that is to make sure that small businesses are part of what powers that growth.
Put on by the SBA's Massachusetts District Office and the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center Northeast Regional Office, this event was an opportunity to network and learn about the resources available for small businesses to start, grow, and expand their business.
When you look around the room, all the resources and the tables that are here, these events have been very, very successful with small businesses really looking for that in-person connection and a way to visit with a number of resources in a morning. Because as small business owners, you're very busy. You're trying to run successful small businesses, so these have been very popular. This is the 5th one that we've done since last fall, and I can tell you that they've all been very successful.
There were representatives from a variety of small business resource provider services, as well as local SBA-approved lenders which attendees could connect with. From LCTV News, I'm Dani Vittori. The Lynn Chamber of Commerce is proposing bringing precise manufacturing to the city. The main purpose would be to help both Lynn and vocational students advance in this industry. Precision manufacturing is the practice of forming materials into extremely precise shapes to meet certain standards. Bringing precision manufacturing to the city would allow smaller businesses to get the highest quality materials for their products, while also giving vocational students the chance to make some of those parts. They can then build off that experience to begin their own small businesses while getting access to machinery they would not have been able to afford otherwise. As part of an effort to clean up the downtown, Lynn will be enforcing parking restrictions by towing cars in violation beginning March 13th. There will be a $170 towing fee as well as an additional $50 ticket. Signs are posted in all designated areas detailing the times and dates of street cleaning. From 4 to 8 a.m., Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, there is no parking allowed on the odd-numbered side of the street. Tuesdays and Thursdays, parking is banned on the even-numbered side of the street during that same time frame. Over the past several weeks, illegally parked cars have been ticketed and flyers were left advising residents that towing would begin on the 13th. This is all in an effort to allow street cleaners to clean all the way to the curb without having to maneuver around parked cars. LHAND celebrated St. Patrick's Day with a luncheon yesterday, the 16th. From 12 to 3 p.m., people were in attendance to share a meal and celebrate the holiday. Take a look.
Welcome to the 23rd St. Patrick's Day lunch sponsored by the Lynn Housing Authority. The Lynn Housing Authority has hosted a sober luncheon, no alcohol, and it originally started with Tom Muldoon, John Sullivan, and Jimmy Lyons, and they organized this with the help of the Housing Authority, and it was to give people in the sober community actually a reason to celebrate.
Without further ado, I would like to bring up this year's Jim Lyons and Tom Muldoon Irish Person of the Year, Jim Connors.
Just won the Irish Person of the Year for 2023.
How important is that to you?
Very important. I do a lot of work with them, and they're just a great company. Just all the work they do to help the community, the donations and everything, and help Lynn.
The employees are gracious enough to cook the meal themselves, prepare it, serve it. It's a great event for the Housing Authority. It's a great event for the community, and we try and offer something to everybody that's a very positive development for the community, and it's something we're proud to do here.
Girls Inc. of Lynn is beginning another 10 to 12 week season for their after-school program beginning in early April. The organization presents Odyssey, an after-school enrichment program for girls in grades 6 to 8. The Odyssey program provides snack, informational time, fun activities, weekly clubs like movie club, hair care, arts and crafts, and food science. Mentoring and academic support are also provided, along with special events and field trips. Odyssey gives girls the opportunity to meet new friends, explore new topics, and have fun in a safe, welcoming environment. Odyssey is open Monday through Friday from after school until 6 p.m. For more information, please contact Lindra Reyes, Middle School Program Manager, at 781-592-9744, extension 230. In the first of our two lowdowns, the executive director and a board member from the Lynn Museum stopped by to give a winter update. Here is the first lowdown. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on two guests from the Lynn Museum, Danica Thurston, the Executive Director, and Joe Scalin, the President of the Board of Trustees. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us, Dani. Well, I should say thank you for having us back.
Yes,
having us
you
back,
came
yeah.
back.
Yes,
so
we
it
came
was
back.
good last time.
Yeah.
So, kind of quick overview. What's been happening since the last Lowdown, which was in July? I think it's back in the summer.
Yeah, so 6 months later, we're still celebrating our anniversary. So for anybody that has missed it, we did turn 125 in April of last year. We've had a lot of fun with it, Joe.
Absolutely. We did.
So we had a number of events, including a major fundraiser last April, a couple of exhibitions. So we're really excited to just, bring it home with our fundraiser and fundraising efforts around our 125th anniversary. We do have a couple of exhibits up right now that are really exciting. So yeah, always things to do at Lynn Museum LynnArts.
Oh yeah, and I think that sounds like more fun. I want to just celebrate an anniversary for a year, like not just one day. That's just not enough.
We made a conscious decision to take a year. How many organizations in Lynn are 125 years old?
I'm gonna go with not many.
Not many.
Very true.
Not many. Not many businesses are that old either.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It's impressive how that it is that old and has so much history. So you talked about some of the different exhibits you have. Some rotate and some are permanent. So for the rotating ones, how do you choose like which ones to put up and when?
Right, so we don't have a curator right now, so that does limit a little bit what we can do with our collection. So what's been really exciting about the exhibits that we've been doing recently is that we're working with the community to curate these exhibits. So we had our Black History exhibit, we also had the Khmer Identity Project last year. So we have a few more projects underway. This year we're doing a project with Leap for Education around the history of youth activism in the community. We'll be doing our 3rd annual Lynn Pride Art Show this summer during Pride Month. So we have lots of exhibits that are really exciting and upcoming, and it's just really wonderful to work with the community on these shows.
And I think what's also very impressive are the paintings of Yeti Frankel, an artist that's up in the main gallery of the museum. A lot of them are Lynn scenes. Mm-hmm. And it's just very lively in there now.
Absolutely. We reached out to Yeti last year, thinking about our 125th anniversary and sort of the relationship between the museum and LynnArts. Yeti was one of the original artists in the LynnArts building. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, she transitioned out of the building, but her art has been featured at the museum for many different exhibitions over the years, so we thought it would be really wonderful to work with her. So it's a retrospective of her work, about 40 years of work that is in the museum. It's up through April of this year. It was actually just featured in Artscope magazine for their January-February issue, but it's a really beautiful show that really celebrates Lynn and the everyday people in our community.
And I know another exhibit that you had was, you said about Lynn hip hop, all of that, and I thought it was interesting that you had said you had a DIY element of that, so people can actually interact with the exhibit, not just looking at it, I guess.
Yeah, so there is a music sort of studio setup. The layout is meant to be like you're in somebody's bedroom and home studio. So we do actually have a piano in there, which I don't imagine many people have a piano just in their bedroom. But there are some additional elements like a drum machine, a keyboard, and some other sound elements. So if anybody wants to come in and lay a track, they're more than welcome to. And that show actually closes at the end of this month. So if you haven't seen it yet, got to get over to the museum.
You mean at the end of February?
Oh my gosh, I'm already a month ahead in my mind. End of February. Thank you, Joe.
Now, ask you, Joe, for the Board of Trustees, like, what's your main role within the museum? Like, what are things that
governance of the museum, finances, budgeting, all the nice stuff. All the nice stuff. And on that subject, I just like to add, because it's a point of pride in a lot of ways, but it's also a point of concern, is that Lynn Museum, LynnArts we are not a government organization. We are a nonprofit organization, and we've been sustaining ourselves operationally since 1897 on our own. And we have been the recipient of some, government grants, obviously. But for operations, we depend solely on our fundraising efforts and generosity of our members and patrons. And it's like everything else, we make the best we can with the situation. But it's always a concern because some people have the assumption that we're government, and we're not. We're not. And we have to make do with the resources we have.
So they might assume that you have certain resources that a government organization would have,
Sure.
but you don't.
We don't.
Right.
We're not part of the city.
No, yeah, so we're
And
not
that's
part
a
of the
general,
city.
yeah, that's just,
Our museum building is in a state-owned building, but the state is our landlord. The state doesn't support us in that way, I guess.
yeah, it's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And leading into that, I know one thing you wanted to talk about was volunteers and interns you can have at the museum, which is another way people can get involved in it.
Absolutely. So we're always looking for volunteers to come and be with us as part of our guest services team. They can welcome people into the space. They can act as docents or guides for our exhibitions. And then we're really excited we're able to bring back our paid youth internship program. We got another generous grant through the Future Leaders program at Essex Heritage to have youth ages 16 to 25 come and work at the museum. So we'll be sharing information about that soon.
Yeah, and this is nothing new. The museum's always existed with volunteers and interns and folks of that nature. It's gone on since we were founded, actually. We were originally an all-volunteer organization, but as we changed, even on Green Street, when we were there for a number of years, like 60, 70, 80 years, they had volunteers, and then they had a professional staff, a curator, a librarian, executive director. Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't think of that you'd moved. So you haven't been in this location. How long have you been in this location?
Since 2006.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting is we were on Green Street, I'd say, for a number of years, probably since 1900, and we moved out, yeah. And there was a museum wing on the building that the trustees had constructed way back when. So it wasn't just a house, it was a converted two-family with a museum wing. And that's where the collection was housed and stored. I can remember going there when I was in elementary school and saying, I'll come back here again someday. Little did I know I'd be the president eventually.
And we've had other homes as well, even before Green Street. We were in the top floor of the Lynn Gas and Electric building back when it was on Exchange Street. We had space in the old Oxford Hall at one point in time.
Oxford Club, I believe.
Yes, excuse me, Oxford Club. Right.
Yeah, which is on Broad Street, was on Broad Street.
So you've bounced around a little bit.
Yeah, but primarily Green Street was our location.
Yes, Green Street was your prime location. And then you're Lynn Museum, and you're also LynnArts as well.
Yeah.
So you also do things, I know that building is rented out sometimes and other organizations use it, but you are also responsible for that.
We are the landlord, we own it.
Yeah.
The LynnArts and Lynn Museum basically merged in 2014.
Okay.
It was very convenient. We're next door to each other, similar missions, and it was decided we could function better as one entity, and it's worked out well.
Right. I think what's unique about our relationship with Lynn Museum LynnArts is that previously LynnArts had their own dedicated staff that were in the building, whereas with the LynnArts building now, all that space is leased out to either artist groups or individual practicing artists and musicians. So the building is really lively and has lots of activation. So we're really excited that we have the partners that we do in that building.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've made great use of both spaces. And one of the things I will ask as sort of a final thing is there's different events, like weekday events you do that seem to engage the community, like Final Friday or certain ones you do on specific days. How did you kind of come up with that? Because it's cool, it's catchy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. So we love standalone programs, especially as such a small team. It's really helpful to have sort of dedicated programming that we know that's going to happen either every week or every month. But Final Fridays was born in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was a partnership between us, Lynn Main Streets, and the Downtown Lynn Cultural District. During the height of the pandemic, we wanted to utilize our outdoor space, and we thought, we'll come together to make this program. And Final Fridays, through the generous support of different grant partners, has continued on, and so we're excited to expand the program this year. We have some robust funding from Mass Development and the Creative Cities program. So the program will actually kick off next month. Usually it's a seasonal program during the summer, but we're going to kick it off at the end of February, focused on the Lynn Hip Hop exhibit. So there will be an after-hours party at the museum every Final Friday, February through November.
That sounds like fun, doing that, something like that. And I'm trying to think, going through all the different things. I mean, you could just talk for so long about all the different exhibits you have, all the different things you do, but I'll ask, What are typical hours? Like if people want to come visit, if they want to volunteer, when is it open?
Yep, so we've still only partially reopened due to the pandemic, but right now it's Thursdays and Fridays, 10 to 5, and then every second Saturday of the month, another themed program. We're open free to the public from 10 to 2.
Great. So that all sounds like a great time to be there. I mean, I know I've been there a few times in both buildings, and they're fantastic.
Thank you.
Well,
You're sorry you missed Green Street, though.
I know. I just slightly missed it, just by a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I'll ask, is there anything else that you wanted to mention that I hadn't asked you about before we wrap up?
I don't know. Do you have any last words?
No, we're just getting ready for the second 125 years. That'll start in May.
Yes.
Actually, April 28th.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when we turn 126.
Yes.
Oh, yes. There you go. You're just going to keep rolling.
Keep rolling. We
Yes.
are the custodians of Lynn's history. We have a fabulous collection.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn is one of the oldest cities in the country, and we have objects in our collection that go back to the 1600s. So we preserve Lynn's history, and we've been happy to do it for 125 years.
Yes, and we're all very glad that you continue to do so.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you both for coming on and sharing some of that. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you for having us back. We look forward to being here sometime soon, another time.
For the 126.
Yeah, there we go.
126,
There we go.
right. Yes, of course, always. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. On deck, the sports update. In the playoffs, all three Spartans teams advanced. St. Mary's girls basketball are still charging as they beat 5th-seeded Medway 66-38 to advance to the Final Four. They led 23-5 after the first and never gave up the lead. The Spartans then won handily against the Rockland Bulldogs 70-43, leading 40-9 by halftime. This was the first in a doubleheader at Quincy, with the boys going second. Their boys team moved on to the Final Four, downing 7th-ranked Tech Boston 83-71. 4 Spartans scored in double digits, led by David Brown Jr. with 27. They then advanced to the championship, beating Old Rochester 58-47, despite being down 17-12 to begin the game. A buzzer beater 3 at the end of the first half gave the Spartans a 27-24 lead and shifted the momentum. While the girls hockey team had a dramatic 6-3 victory over Billerica Chelmsford with an incredible third period. With the back-and-forth battle, including 3 goals in the first minute of the third, an empty netter sealed the deal for the Spartans. This is the first time they will be back in the championship since 2013. It has been 16 years since the St. Mary's team hasn't won a championship, and 3 teams are 1 win away from doing so again. In track and field news, Brett O'Brien placed 17th in the high jump in the Rising Star division of the New Balance Nationals. Lori Soriel also placed 17th in shot put, and Justin Jennings earned 25th in the freshman 60-yard dash. The Lynn Tech boys basketball team remained undefeated at home, finishing their season at 19-4 and winning the vocational championship 58-48 against Worcester Tech. Giovanni Jean scored a double-double with 14 points and 12 rebounds. The Boston Bruins are now the fastest to 50 wins in NHL history, beating the Detroit Red Wings 3-2 on the 11th, and are the first team to secure a playoff berth for the 2023 postseason. This win was followed by a loss to the Red Wings on the 12th, 5-3, and another loss to the Chicago Blackhawks, 6-3. 4 goals by Chicago in the third were the difference, as Boston only scored once in that period. The Bruins then rebounded with a 3-0 win over the Winnipeg Jets, where goalie Jeremy Swayman recorded 36 saves. Sitting 2 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks in the Atlantic Conference standings, the Celtics won 134-125 over the Atlanta Hawks on the 11th. 6 Celtics scored in double digits, led by Jaylen Brown with 34. As a team, Boston scored at least 30 points in all 4 quarters, including hitting 20 of their 42 three-point attempts. They then fell to the Houston Rockets 111-109, despite another stellar performance by Brown with 43 points, before narrowly beating the Minnesota Timberwolves 104-102 on the 15th. For the second lowdown, we welcomed LEO Inc. to discuss their goals and priorities for the city, as well as their moving locations and plans for the future. Here is the lowdown. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on Andrew Gilroy from LEO Inc. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So I will ask you real quick, overview of LEO. What's the main thing that the organization does?
Sure. So LEO we are the community action agency for Lynn. And what that means is we offer a whole range of programs and services focused on addressing economic insecurity and poverty-related issues. So we operate the Head Start and Early Head Start programs, providing early childhood education. We operate the Home Energy Assistance Program for Lynn and the surrounding towns. And we have a number of other community engagement activities really focused around economic security for the area.
Great. And now I'll ask about you specifically. You're the Community Services Director. So you said you've been with LEO about 10 years?
10 years, yes. So I am the Community Service Director, so I oversee our Home Energy Assistance, formerly known as our Fuel Assistance Program, as well as some of our other services that are focused around real basic needs, utility, housing, food security issues.
And you were even saying before this, the fuel assistance program you're saying it's been a huge deal this year. I mean, it always is, but
yes,
especially with rising costs.
This year has been a particularly tumultuous year for energy costs, as I'm sure everyone out there knows based on their most recent bills. But energy costs are way up, and the fuel assistance or energy assistance program is there to assist folks to pay a portion of their wintertime heating bills.
And for anyone seeking fuel assistance from you, how would they go about it? What's the process?
So it has never been easier to apply with us. We've got a number of different ways. We have an online application. Folks can hop on our website, leoinc.org. They can come and visit us in person down here on Union Street in Lynn. And they can give us a call and apply by the phone.
So a lot of options, which is great to fit people's needs depending on the best ways they are to contact you.
Yes, yeah, we want to make the application process as easy as possible and get this service out there to as many folks as we can.
Definitely. And you also mentioned the food security project, and you work with the Greater Boston Food Bank. Is that it?
Yeah, so we have a few efforts around food security issues in the community, and largely we try to partner with other organizations that are already doing this work. But we do a monthly food distribution for area seniors, and we've started to do some work with the public schools trying to help supplement some of the food resources that are already out there.
Oh, great. So, a lot of organizations, you collaborate a lot with many others. That definitely is a common theme, it seems.
Yes, absolutely. We are never looking to reinvent the wheel, and we're always kind of trying to just add what we can and potentially expand on resources that are already out there.
Which makes sense, why go and reinvent something or redo something when you're like, oh wait, someone else is already doing that well, but we can add this and expand on it instead of having to totally redo it yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. We just want to supplement and hopefully help folks access resources that are already out there. And that's been one of our big themes this year. We've been working to help people apply for other benefits programs that are out there. We've got several of our staff are trained to do SNAP applications or food stamps with the Department of Transitional Assistance, so folks can come in and apply with our staff directly.
Great. And I know there's another element of Leo is you do have volunteers. So you have your staff, then you have people that can come in and volunteer as well. So if someone wanted to, how would that work?
So we have a number of different options for folks who are interested in volunteering. We have volunteers who come in and will work with one of our departments or programs on an ongoing basis. But we also have volunteer opportunities periodically throughout the year that are kind of sort of one-time event focused volunteering. So folks who are interested can reach out to us by phone, email, in person. We're always happy to have more volunteers.
Great. And you mentioned in person, I'll say real quick, you relatively recently, a few months ago, moved from Broad Street to here, your new address.
We did. So for the better part of 2 or 3 decades, we were over on Broad Street in Lynn. And this fall, we relocated over here to Union Street, to the 181 Union Street Plaza. We are right in the middle of it, about halfway down from this studio, up on the 2nd floor for anybody who is looking to come visit us.
Great. And that's definitely a good thing to know, because you come to any kind of building where there's multiple levels and you're kind of like, okay, where do I go now? Because there's like 3 different doors. But I know the big focus that you wanted to look at was fuel assistance, was that security program. I know I'm going on a multiple different programs, but I know that wanted to be your focus.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely want to promote that program. It is it is a benefits program, but it is one that is able to help a lot of folks. We have an income eligibility criteria with the program, but that criteria is relatively high. So for example, for a family of 4, if they're earning up to about $81,000 annually, they can qualify for the heating assistance program. For a household of 1, that income threshold is about $42,000 annually. So I think there's a lot of folks out there who may be surprised to learn that they could qualify.
No, definitely. You said it was higher. I am surprised with that, because you might figure, oh, I don't qualify because I make a certain amount of money, so that's good to know.
Yes, absolutely. We have plenty of folks who, their income may put them above the limit for some other programs, but they can still qualify for ours. And the benefits with our program, we help defray some of your wintertime heating costs by paying towards your bills directly. If you're not already on the discount rate with the utility companies, so in our area that's National Grid, you get enrolled in the low-income discount rate, which on your gas bill saves you 25%, and on your electric bill saves you 32%. In addition to that, you can get connected with weatherization, conservation, and heating system services that are through a partner organization of ours that can help weatherize your home, work with heating system repair and replacement for any issues that may be coming up. There's a whole slew of services that open up when you enroll in the program.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of different services that people could potentially apply for or have depending on their specific needs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we want to just make it as easy as possible for folks to enroll in the program. It's really just the basic information that we're trying to collect to get everything verified and provide some services.
And fuel assistance, I know it's mainly focused on winter, but does it run all year, or are there certain periods where it runs?
So the benefits are provided during the heating season, which is November 1st through April 30th. So that's the period of energy bills that we're looking at. Applications for the program, we usually start taking applications late August, early September, and we keep taking them until the end of April. But yeah, the program is seasonal, but it does provide benefits. The discount rate is something that is maintained throughout the year.
Oh, great. That's great to know. I think if I asked anything else about fuel assistance, so was there anything else that you wanted to say about that, or any other program that I may have not touched upon?
So I think for the fuel assistance, I would really encourage anybody out there, if you're on the fence, give us a call, come by our office, hop on our website. Doesn't hurt to apply. And you know, as an organization, we're really here to serve the community. If we don't provide a particular service, we will do our best to connect someone with an organization that does, or a program that does. So really any issues around economic security, housing, utility issues, give us a call or stop by, and we will do our best to help.
Great. That's it. And I want to thank you again for coming on to talk about all of these different services that you have and really helping make it visible for the community.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been great chatting.
Great. And once again, this has been the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and we will see you next week with more guests. Now, the community calendar. Wednesday, the 22nd, is the opening night of the All-City Art Exhibit at LynnArts. Students from Lynn Public Schools, pre-K through 12, will be displaying their art for the community to see. The exhibit will run through the 23rd, and visiting hours on Thursday are from 2 to 4 p.m. A fundraiser for Cambodian New Year will be held Saturday the 25th from 7 to 11 p.m. at the Hibernian Hall. There will be live music from the Iron Cricket Band, buffet-style Cambodian food, and dancing. Dinner will be served at 8 p.m. and tickets are $35 per person. The next day, the 26th, there will be a get-to-know a vet event hosted by the Brotherhood Club. They were initially supposed to have the event back in January, but it had to be postponed. It is meant to honor veterans while also giving civilians a look inside their experience in the military. This will be accompanied by food, raffles, and music, as well as a Q&A session where some veterans will tell their stories. For more details on these events and all the happenings around the city, go to LynnTV.org. That is the news for this week. Follow us on social media at Lynn Community Television to stay up to date on the latest news throughout the city. Also, go to Lynn Community Television on YouTube to watch our videos on interviews, events, and shows. And visit LynnTV.org for our community calendar, videos on demand, and news. I'm Dani Vittori. This is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.